Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
R.I.P. Jim Cotta guy.
Yeah. It's a sad day. Sad day.
He wasn't that old. He died of a stroke.
Well, that's too bad. Yeah, Jim Cotta didn't come out that long ago.
But he left us Jim Cotta, so, you know.
I mean, that's probably more of a legacy than I'm going to leave on this world.
He invented a new way of fighting that is used all over the globe now.
Yeah.
Jim Cotta.
Jim Cotta.
Hi everyone.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, starring Michael Cera as Sam Rockwell, as Chuck Barris.
His future was uncertain.
I'm sorry about your show. Are you okay?
I just want to entertain people.
His every move was being watched.
I could use your help. I work for the Office of Diplomatic Security.
But is that the CIA or something?
Are you interested?
There's a couple of moments in this movie where it's like, holy shit, is that, so-and-so?
Right. I mean, I remembered some of it. I knew the cameos that were going to be on the dating game. I remembered that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, George Clooney directed this, so he's got friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few that I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, like Rutger Hauer and...
Rutger Hauer is the one I was like, oh, no.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal as Drew Barrymore's roommate.
Yep.
Before we get started, this is normally something we do Thursdays. This is a We Just Watched classic. We're cleaning up. We're trying to get our schedule a little more stable. But also, there was just nothing to
there's nothing
watch this weekend.
Yeah, there's nothing that came out this weekend. So
yeah. So this is brought to you by Joshua Graves.
Woo!
Thank you, Joshua. Joshua gave us a list
to
choose from, and we chose this one. Which, Tom, you said you hadn't watched since theaters?
I haven't seen it since it came out. This movie came out in 2002.
Yeah.
Which is a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, I told you I saw them filming this movie. All the parts where they're in Eastern Europe, the Berlin Wall, all that, that's all like the same 4 blocks of Montreal.
Yeah.
Like this more historical area. When the dating game guy is like talking to Chuck Barris and being like, you gotta let me you gotta put in a good word.
You gotta talk to her, Chuck.
Yeah, when they pass by the truck that like zooms by the shot, if you remember. Mm-hmm. I'm like just off screen watching. And that was the only time I saw them filming it. That Berlin Wall I hung out with though, because they couldn't just like, it's like they just had it there. Like they had like a couple security guys, but they couldn't like permanently block it off.
Right.
So they just had this big foam Berlin Wall.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the reason I remember when it came out. I haven't seen this for a few years, but I've seen it more recently than you. How did you like this movie?
I like this movie.
Yeah, I do too. I gotta say, I didn't like it as much as I remembered it.
Yeah, it's a little. I sort of felt the same way. I think
it's written by Charlie Kaufman.
It is written by Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, and that comes through.
Oh yeah,
because it's filmed like it's George Clooney's directorial debut. It's filmed like a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
But it's also filmed like a TV show. Like he frequently, and that's very much intentional. And it's one of the things I actually really like about the movie is that it frequently, because it's such a heightened reality in which it takes place, it's based on a fabulous autobiography by Chuck Barris.
It's based off what I would call a lie.
Oh yeah, no, he admitted it was.
Oh, okay, good.
Like he said it was. He was just like it was a few years after this movie came out. He was like, yeah, no, I applied for the CIA, but I never made it in. This is just like, I figured if I was going to write my autobiography, why don't I make it like awesome?
Yeah.
Like, so
Well, that comes out in the movie, I thought, because it's a lot about a man's regrets and that he didn't do anything with his life, or like the feeling that he didn't.
yeah.
And then he in a fucking drunken stupor writes this autobiography that's just a lie.
Yeah.
Or mostly a lie, yeah.
But the scenes, there's a lot of in scene, like in camera transitions where like walls move.
Yeah,
to
a lot of
reveal-
really cool practical effects.
Yeah, so it's like a TV show,
Yeah.
like a variety show.
I think though it's really cool the way they did that, and you can sort of like when he's going on the page tour, and then clearly they made Sam Rockwell like quickly change into.
Yep.
It's stuff like that, yeah.
Or when he's on the phone with the guy, and then the wall of his apartment disappears, and you can see the other guy there, and yeah.
There's some great shit, and so it's visually a very interesting movie. The thing that like I found ugly was the filters on a lot of this, like a lot of the flashbacks. And I get the idea, which is that the farther when they show like when he's a kid and like a baby, the filters are really heavy because the memory is foggy.
The memory is foggy, yeah.
And everything gets clearer. I get
The
that.
older he gets, yeah.
Yeah, it still just didn't look good. They could have done that better, I think.
I don't know.
This is a very slight criticism. I just thought it looked kind of like dog shit. Like
Yeah.
I understood why they did it, but
Yeah.
there was some shots where I'm like, I feel like it's just like kind of out of focus or something. I don't know. But it's Clooney's definitely knew what he was doing. Like I like his directing.
Yeah.
I think what it was about this movie, watching it again, that I was like, I'm less thrilled about this, isn't the writing, it's not the performances, it's not the directing, it's the character.
Yeah.
It's the realization of like, oh, I don't care about this person.
Right, like they never do the work to make you like Chuck.
In fact, they go out of the way to make you not like him.
Yeah. So it's like, why am I sitting here just watching and it sat wrong with me when I first saw it in the theater, and it still sits wrong with me, but the final scene in which he gets the best of Julia Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I'm sitting here watching this self-aggrandizing man tell us lies about his fantastic life.
Right.
And then like the final scene is like him outsmarting this like woman that was like trying to destroy him and everyone else in the CIA alongside him. So it's like a very typical like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
okay,
a fantasy.
right, yeah, let's make the woman the evil seductress. And like,
Femme fatale, yeah.
yeah, and then you outsmart her in a very stupid way.
Yeah. But in a very spy novel way.
Yeah.
Like, I get that in the framing of it's all fake.
Yes.
Which I almost wish the movie ended with that.
Yeah.
With the realization, like, yeah, this is like they imply it. And they imply that it might be a delusion. That at his wedding he sees
George Clooney
in his first kill and stuff like that, and it's almost more like a Fight Club implication where it's like it's all in his head or something like that, or American Psycho.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have minded, like, I don't know, some sort of, because his whole deal is he's kind of an entertainment grifter. They talk about it. There's like a debate to be had about his contribution to television and whether or not he, brought quality down, which
he sort of invented reality television.
Yeah. He invented like kind of mean-spirited television.
And like American Idol and like, yeah.
Yeah. And so the idea that, it's just one more kind of grift. I don't know. I thought of this with the whole Andy Kaufman's thing too, where they, at the very end, they show Tony Clifton, and then they show why can't I remember the actor's name?
Paul Giamatti,
yeah, as Bob Zmuda.
As Bob Zmuda, yeah.
Yeah, and the implication is like, oh, could he still be alive? And it's like, no,
he's dead.
No, he's dead. Bob Zmuda's WTF had a moment like that because Mark Maron was like, was like, so what's the deal with that? And he's like, oh, who could say? And Mark Maron's just like, okay, cut the shit. No. Like, cut this shit. Like he's dead. Stop it.
I get that a little bit more though, because that's probably what Andy Kaufman wanted. He was like, no, just keep this weird riddle alive. So it's like, okay, yeah, I can do that for you.
Yeah, and I guess the way the movie ended is to troll people, specifically the way Kaufman would have. But this one, I feel like it felt like the whole point of this guy is that he feels like a phony, so he has to create this fantasy where he's important. Yeah. I didn't realize that he had come out and just said, like, yeah, of course it's bullshit. And I kind of respect it more. The fact that he just came out, he's not like a sociopath who's pretending like that this is all still real. So I don't know. I thought it would have been nice for them. I guess it's what this is a long way of me saying I'm not entirely sure what the point of the film is.
I don't know either. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it came out. The film was made before he publicly admitted that it was all lies, even though everybody fucking knew it was all lies.
Right. And the film tries to pretend it isn't.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that it does, because the film takes place in a super heightened reality. Like you said, there's heavy filters over his memory. Like, we're constantly being reminded that this is a movie. Like, this is entertainment. Like, this is not real.
Right.
And the way that, like I said, like certain scenes have like moving sets and stuff that make it a lot like a television program. I think the point of the movie is like about the blurred line between reality and entertainment, because he sort of did create reality television in a way, and like it's kind of it's like his life story is, I guess, as real as he says it is. I'm not
right. Well, when you take away the spy stuff, he's just kind of a scummy TV producer,
right?
And that's fine.
It's all a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, well, what if I was this thing? Like, I think that's kind of the point of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
It's tough. Again, I don't hate this movie.
No, not at all.
I think it's a really well-made movie. It was just that realization watching this, as they introduce him as like just a sex pest.
Very much so.
Yeah. It's like they don't. If this was, I never read the autobiography, but if this was how he tells it, at least he's not lying to himself, because he basically is just like, in my early like 20s, I was just a jerk who wanted to get laid and who got into fights at bars. I'm just like a hot-headed sex pest.
Yeah.
And they don't make it seem like he isn't. They do sort of have this like him longing to be, he's seeing like couples kissing and being like, why not me? But then the way he's going about it is so monstrous.
Again, I think that's a perception of reality, because in the scene where we see him in the movie theater, for example, and he's trying to get like a handy.
Yeah, he just whips it out.
Like everyone in the I think it's actually the scene before that, but everyone in the literally everyone in the theater is a couple making out, except for him and this girl who are just sitting there watching the movie.
Right. It's definitely heightened reality.
Later on,
perception.
Right. And later on, when we see him at the movies with Drew Barrymore, he and Drew Barrymore are making out, and they're the only people in the theater making out. Everyone else is watching the movie. So I think it's his perception is what we're seeing.
Yes.
And
sure.
not necessarily like what is real and what is a justification for what he's doing. And I think, again, I think that's ultimately what this movie is about, is perceptions of reality. Because he's a TV producer, and because he told this fantastic story about his life that can't possibly be true. But everything in the movie is sort of filmed in this hyper realistic way that constantly reminds you that none of it's real.
Right.
So yeah.
But some of it's real, because some of it happened.
Some of it definitely happened, yes.
They also do, and I don't know what the purpose of this is, and I don't know if it was written or if it's was done after the fact, they interview the real people.
Yes.
Like it's a documentary. Mm-hmm. And those are heavily filtered as well, those shots.
Yeah, they're filtered in a way that's like, this is real.
Right. And they are very, like, they're very sparse throughout.
Right, it only happens like maybe 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm. And there's these weird dips into reality where, like, the TV monitors will show the real versions of these shows and stuff like that. So it's definitely playing with that idea. I'm not sure about the interviews though, because the interviews added something weird to it to me, where it was like, are you trying to make me believe this? Are you trying to get these interviews with people to imply that this is really happening?
I think it's all about blurring that line.
Right.
Like that's the whole point of the movie is blurring the line between what's real and what's just entertainment. And when you're in entertainment, does it really matter? Mm-hmm. And to the point that they show Chuck Barris at the very end, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that.
He doesn't say a word.
No. They just show him.
Yeah.
I wonder if he knew. I wonder if they like interviewed him for 3 hours, then they watched the movie and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
He probably knew.
No, he probably.
Yeah. But like, yeah, the screenplay is extremely because also like coming at it from the standpoint that it was knowing that it was written by Charlie Kaufman. It's like, oh yeah, this is a meta film.
Oh yeah, it's Charlie. I guess that's what I'm saying is that like I bet the script was really good because it's Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah,
he's always good. In the hands of George Clooney, who I do think is a good director, but this is his debut. Mm-hmm. Directing job. So like I'm wondering how much of this was in the script, how much of it was Clooney adding on to it.
I'm going to assume that a lot of it was in the script.
Yeah.
Because the structure is so perfectly like a meta deconstruction of the type that Charlie Kaufman likes to do.
Oh yeah.
But Clooney
it's him leading up to Adaptation, which my God.
Same year, I think, wasn't it? Wasn't Adaptation 2002?
That's one of those movies that you really have to know it's a meta movie, because the first time I watched it, I was like, wait, what the fuck? What the fuck was that? And then like you have to like read about it. Like it's real. Like if you just watch that movie without knowing that it's who it's written by, or anything like that, it's just a kind of a shitty movie.
It was, in fact, the same year.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah, I think Clooney definitely understood what he was going for. And then I don't know if Clooney actually had the background with the Coen brothers yet at this point.
I don't know. It doesn't feel that Coen brothers to me. I think the moment when I was like with Clooney, like I think Clooney was always inspired by Coen brothers, but I think his style isn't exactly Coen brothers. The script certainly isn't.
No.
I think the one movie where I was like, I feel like you're trying to do Coen brothers was Leatherheads. You remember that one?
I remember.
Our favorite boy, John Krasinski.
I didn't see it, but I remember when it came out.
That had a few funny moments. That felt very much like he was trying to do Coen brothers, but he definitely has the thing where he'll do like serious movie, funny movie, serious movie, funny movie. I really enjoyed Good Night and Good Luck. I got to watch that again though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like what else has he done recently?
What was it called? Suburbicon?
I haven't seen that yet. I want to watch that. That looked kind of fun.
Yeah.
He did do Leatherheads.
It was Suburbicon was co-written by the Coen brothers.
No shit.
Yep. It was the Coen brothers and then Clooney and Grant Heslov, who is his producing partner.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Monuments Men, which I haven't heard anything.
No,
he did Ides of March. I really liked Ides of March.
Okay.
Did you see Ides of March?
I didn't.
Ooh, Ides of March I thought was like it's my jam as a political thriller.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch that shit.
Yeah, it's Gosling as like the aide to a Democratic, I think, candidate for presidency. It's his serious one. It's Confessions is kind of his goofy one. Good Night and Good Luck, serious one. Leatherheads, goofy one. Ides of March, serious one. Monuments Men, his goofy one. Suburbicon, his serious one. Like, he really does go back and forth. I think he's very hit or miss generally, though.
Yeah.
But I do want him to keep going.
Yeah. It feels like his tonal shifts are very Coen Brothers for sure, and he's clearly he's clearly like part of their like inner circle. So
yeah, I'm sure he's heavily inspired by them. I think the Ides of March just felt like a pretty like serious political thriller. I don't know. I haven't watched it a bit, but I didn't get any Coen Brothers off of that. I think more his humor stuff than anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's also in this, rocking a mustache.
Yeah.
Pretty great mustache.
He's I like his performance in this.
Yeah, he's great in it.
He's very low-key menacing in this movie.
And very funny. Like, because he's so serious, I found him very funny, where he's like suggesting an idea for his show.
Yeah.
And just like, he calls him Strawberry Dick at one point.
Yeah.
Because he just knows everything about him. He's in, at the same time, he acts like someone who's killed.
Yeah, he never speaks above a certain register, and he always maintains the same rhythm of speech.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, every line he delivers is at like a very medium tone, and that's the only tone he ever has in the film.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting, and it has this, like I said, it has this this sort of low-key menace to it, where it's like, it is funny sometimes because of the things he's saying to him, but the way that he's saying them is very laconic, I think is the word. It's just, it's like you said, it's like a guy who's killed. A guy who is not to be fucked with, basically.
There is definitely a lot of like humor in the spy stuff. When he sits down to see Julia Roberts, he goes to someone else first.
Yeah.
Which is a very like, that feels like a meta spy joke.
Yeah. And the scene where he meets Rutger Hauer, where he's not sure if Rutger Hauer is going to kill him, and he's like, so I met him in a place where I felt comfortable, and they're literally surrounded by mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rutger Hauer killing that guy and wanting a picture.
Yeah, strangling that guy. He's like, no, take the picture.
Yeah,
and then he smiles
delightful.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the idea that it's something that like the new Bond kind of touched upon, which is that like killing for the CIA, the people they get. When George Clooney was like, you're made for this job, and the reason why is he profiles him as a serial killer.
Yes,
it's the idea that like CIA, they look for people who would have otherwise been serial killers, and they give them jobs and give them direction, which I really like that idea of the and so like Rutger Hauer also is clearly a serial killer. He's just doing it for the CIA.
Right.
I really like that idea that the government being like, well, we need people to be killers. Why not get people who we're going to kill either way?
Right. And like Clooney says later, like, Sam Rockwell is like, well, I have a good job. I'm a television producer. I've got hit shows. I don't need to kill for money anymore. And he's like, it was never about what you needed for money.
Yeah. He's like, you do it to relax.
Right. Like when he goes, he sets up a meeting with George Clooney. He's like, I need something for my head. And George Clooney hands him a packet. And it's like, there you go.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. You know what?
Kill this guy.
You know what I might have liked better?
What's that?
Where I think the meat is that could be kind of cut, or the fat, I guess, is I think this movie struggles to be two things: an autobiography or a biopic, story.
I think that goes right out the window.
What?
The autobiography.
Well, it's clear it's not actually one, but like the stuff with his relationships and getting married and like getting a career and stuff. Part of me wants to just see a movie kind of very focused on the spy stuff.
I don't know. I like the juxtaposition, and I like the insinuation that all of his wet work with the CIA is what made him come up with his ideas for his game shows.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Where it's like his ideas for his game shows are just like torturing people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not flattering because even when it's not that, he comes up with the game show in very cynical ways.
Yeah.
Where he's like, the Newlywed Game is based off his belief that someone will sell out their spouse for a new appliance.
Well, it's also, if you notice, he also comes up with the Newlywed Game while he's watching the torture technique.
Yeah. But like, I think the real reasons are just as good, which is that he's just a cynical guy. Like, yeah, that it's all like when he comes up with the dating game, it's again him hearing someone talk about how dating is bullshit. Yeah, like it's all him coming up with game shows based around things that he thinks are lame and bad, and how incredibly cynical he is as a person.
Yeah,
and generally unpleasant.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think like I don't believe a single thing in this film.
No, of course
so
not.
I think. Well, I'm not sure.
I do believe some of it.
Well, what I was going to say. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I believe the self-loathing side, where he is talking about why he came up with shows, or his personal relationships. Mm-hmm. Those seem real to me because it's just. I don't know. Do you think he's demonizing himself? Is he just making himself out to be a villain, and that he just got married to someone and it was very nice and like. He didn't cheat on them. Like I feel
I think all that's probably true, but like from the I don't feel the tug of war between being a biopic and being this fantastical spy picture. Because as soon as it like dips into the fabulous end, I'm just like, okay, I don't believe any of this.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I find that more entertaining. I think that's a better film. Like I don't
maybe because the hook here.
I like this film, but
yeah,
I kind of want to see a film just about like a producer becoming a spy and more about like I really like the idea of spies as just clear serial killers and that world and kind of. It's just whenever it was like and then you know when it's talking about his like first girlfriend getting pregnant. And like where it's clearly,
she wasn't really.
Yeah, where it's clearly biopic stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I don't need to know about your childhood. Or again, like this, it's fine in this context, but like I'd almost rather watch a fictional story about a fictional producer being a spy, as opposed to this mix of like, here's my life, but also here's this lie planted in it, and I get why it exists.
Yeah.
But like that just feels more interesting to me as a piece of entertainment.
Yeah, maybe.
In this film, it's all perfectly balanced, I think.
Yeah, there is something fascinating about a real life person just making this claim.
Right. Well, the title "Confessions of a Dangerous Mind."
Yeah.
The emphasis is on dangerous mind. Is that I think it is important, like realizing this is all just kind of a narcissistic lie.
Yeah, and then also he was sort of accused of that. Like we see glimpses of it in the movie where like people are really coming after him for like eroding society.
Yeah.
With the stuff he comes up with, and it's like, all right, calm down.
Right.
But
oh yeah, it's quaint now seeing the things. I mean, you could argue in a Butterfly Effect way, like this was the beginning.
Yeah.
But if he didn't do it, someone else would.
Yeah.
Because as he argues, he's just giving people what they want.
Yes.
It's a collective effort. Like reality TV, it didn't matter who came up with it.
Right.
We would have done it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, and I'm pretty sure this is on purpose.
What's this?
But when he moves into his house in Los Angeles with Drew Barrymore,
yeah,
and he carries her inside, and then they have, they have like a love scene. The love scene is out of focus. And I think that's absolutely intentional.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Because again, related to the movie's theme of sort of blurring the line between reality and entertainment and what's real and what's not. I think they obscured that moment because as it becomes clear throughout the rest of the film, Chuck's not entirely sure what she means to him.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-commitment.
Yeah, he's very non-committal. He's like, he even tells her, "I love you in my way."
Yeah, because they start with her being almost like the perfect woman for him, where she's really very casual as well.
She's very casual. She's very mercurial. She's like just sort of like whatever.
And at a certain point, it's like clearly that she wants, she asks to marry. She asks him to marry her, and then she tries to pass it off as like, "Oh, I was kidding."
Yeah,
but it's just very clear that
he doesn't react well to it. Yeah.
She's great in this, Drew Barrymore. I always enjoy her in movies. And like, shit, did I lose my train of thought? Oh yeah, I was just gonna say one thing I should make clear is their relationship stuff. I should note that it's the broad strokes that I think are real, but because they purposefully make, like, they do romantic montages that are, again, like you said, it's like a television show. It's all very corny, their love, a lot of the time. They do that montage where she's like, they're just like doing like couple stuff, and it's stuff that no couple has ever done, or it's done in this very cheesy montage way, at least. And so, yeah, I do think, again, it's all through his memory. It's all through this lens of retelling it all.
Yeah.
In this way, which is, it's weird because it means that he's still a prick in his fantasized version.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Which is why I guess I'm also not bothered about the Julia Roberts thing, because it's all told through his brain. So it's like, of course he got the better of her in this cheesy spy novel way.
Right.
Because it's all just a fantasy.
Yes.
I guess, again, in the Charlie Kaufman way, if you watch this not realizing that, like thinking of this as like, are they trying to genuinely pass this off as a biopic?
I don't think so. No, like this was.
No, I don't think they are. I'm saying that people could watch it the way you could watch adaptation and not realize that what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And
if you don't realize that, it's a worse film. So it's risky, especially for George Clooney's directorial debut.
Yeah, I remember the publicity around the film when it came out was the fact that it was this highly controversial autobiography where it was like, it seemed entirely likely that this dude just made up a bunch of shit about his life to make a good book. Because that's sort of how he looked at life. I was like, well, we'll just say whatever's entertaining. And from what I'm reading a quote here from George Clooney about the CIA claims. He says, "I don't know how much I believed it."
Wait, can you do it in his voice?
No. I cannot.
All right.
I don't have a Clooney. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah. He says, "I don't know how much I believed it. I didn't want to officially ask him because I didn't want him to say I made it up. I wanted to tell the story, and I thought how interesting if it was all made up. Why someone as wealthy and as successful as Chuck Barris would have to do that. I thought that was an interesting person to explore, and that's what we wanted to do with the film."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do. I keep going back and forth on this. It is almost more interesting if he never confessed to making it up, because I feel like I don't know much about Chuck Barris. I should note this. Maybe he's a monster. Maybe he's a wonderful man. But if it was
he has since passed away. He died in 2017.
Okay. If it was just this like very narcissistic thing where he was like, "No, this is my life. This is my biography," and like never fessed up. The fact that like a few years later he was like, "Oh yeah, it's bullshit," means to me that it was never like that narcissistic of a commitment. It was just like, "Yeah, I thought it'd be fun."
Yeah, that's sort of the I remember when I saw this movie, that's the attitude that I perceived. I was like, "Oh, here's a guy." Like when I saw the movie, I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy just was like, well, if I'm going to write an autobiography, I might as well make myself a fucking space pirate.
Right.
You know?
I guess the things that, but the
Like
things
I could see myself doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, the things I think throw it off are those weird interviews with like Dick Clark. Dick Clark is Dick Clark the first person we see in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that threw me off.
Yeah. I mean, again, the movie is about blurring the line between reality and entertainment.
Yeah, that's true.
So it has these interview segments with it, and I think that works for the film because you're left like we mentioned, like the last image you see is Chuck Barris, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was that real? I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. That's such a great ending idea for an ending because it's like because you do these interviews with these other people and you think like part of me says that maybe they shouldn't have had Dick Clark then because the other people aren't people that are too famous. I guess.
Right, they're just people that worked with. I mean, like he produced, I think, American Bandstand with Dick Clark. I think that's why Dick Clark's in it.
But even with Dick Clark, you think like, oh, are they acting right now? Like, is this part of it?
Don't know.
And then Chuck Barris at the end. No, I bet that's genuine interviews because everything they say they clearly like selected. It was very selective editing where it's like the only time they have someone say anything towards him being a spy is basically that woman just being like, yeah, he'd be gone for a couple weeks. They wouldn't tell us where he went. And it's like, okay. that means nothing. But
right, like, that's just Hollywood producer shit.
Right, but it was a very good way of implying that there was some truth to it.
And I think she also has the bit where it's like he would just turn on people. Like you could hear about him just turning on, like he was a great guy,
right?
But he had this capacity to just destroy people if he felt the whim.
Right, and they have that part where she's like, "Yeah, he's a good man. I mean, he's a prick."
Yeah.
Which again, all of that can be used to describe just any old producer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
an interesting movie.
It's a very interesting movie. I got to give Clooney a lot of respect for opening with it because I do think it's a hard movie to start with. It's not, people don't remember this movie that much, and I think it's because at face value as a movie, it's kind of uneven.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and you don't like the main character. Again, it's very Charlie Kaufman, which is that I would argue a lot of Kaufman characters you don't like John Cusack and Billy John Malkovich. It's like
he's a goblin. Yeah, he's fucking terrible. Yeah,
you have to kind of appreciate his films always on a meta level where you're certainly not going to follow the hero's journey and like care what happens to him. I think Nicolas Cage in Adaptation is one of the more sympathetic ones, but he's also very pathetic. And it's, again, you have to know that he's playing Charlie Kaufman, and you have to know that Charlie Kaufman is the writer to understand it, because it's supposed to be like him just shitting on himself, like I'm a failure, I'm a piece of shit. Every interaction with like a woman is just blows up in my face, and it's just otherwise you're just watching a character where you're like, look at this fucking wiener. And then it ends with like fucking alligator murders, and you're like, I don't know what I just saw. I don't know why that happened.
I'm reading about this movie. You'll notice one of the things I noticed, which is funny now because he's a fucking Oscar-winning actor. Sam Rockwell is like the fifth build.
Oh, you're right. That does check out.
And he's the main character.
Right, but at the time,
you're
sure,
right.
He's Sam Rockwell, but he's not George Clooney. He's not Julia Roberts. He's not Drew Barrymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore is the first build.
Yeah.
Because they go alphabetical. They go Drew Barrymore, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Sam Rockwell, who is the main character.
Yeah.
Who is in every scene of the movie. And apparently, from what I'm reading, Clooney had to jump through a lot of fucking hoops for that.
For Sam Rockwell?
Yeah.
Wow. What? All right. Where was he in his career at the time?
Clooney?
No, Sam
Rockwell was nothing.
Well,
he had done
Ninja Turtles.
He had done The Green Mile in 1999. He was still like, he hadn't really done much.
So Clooney saw Ninja Turtles and was like, "Oh, that's our Chuck Barris."
Yeah, that's our guy. That's our guy. No, he apparently worked with him on another movie and was like, "Yeah, he's the fucking guy."
That's awesome.
Welcome to Collinwood is apparently the film.
Yeah.
But he had to, because like other people were interested, like Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller were interested in the role. He had to give them first look deals on a lot of his movies.
Wow.
And he also had to cameo in Spy Kids 2.
Wow.
Like Miramax made him do all of that to cast. They made him do all that, and they still didn't greenlight it until he got Julia Roberts to be in it.
Wow, that's
They wouldn't greenlight. Yeah, they wouldn't greenlight a $28 million movie with Sam Rockwell in the lead role.
Yeah, I mean, he had done Galaxy Quest and Charlie's Angels, and Charlie's Angels is probably his biggest one there, which is again with Drew Barrymore, a romantic Drew Barrymore scene, I believe. Oh yeah, I forgot that he's in Stella, like some of the very early Stella stuff. Sam Rockwell is in there. Yeah, and after Confessions, he did Matchstick Men, and I feel like Hitchhikers is the one where people were like, "Oh, check out that Sam Rockwell." But his career since then, like, it's very interesting. Like, Moon pops out, of course.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of smaller stuff, then shows up every now and then in bigger stuff, like Iron Man 2
and Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah. I think what would you say is his best role? I think I know what I would say.
Man.
Can I give you mine?
I think mine might be The Green Mile.
Mine is Poltergeist. No, mine is Poltergeist. Mine is Seven Psychopaths.
Oh, he's fucking awesome in that. Yeah.
Killing it in Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah, I like him a lot in The Green Mile.
He is a waste in Poltergeist, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. I watched it last year. It's a fucking wasteland.
What a
of
piece
film.
of crap movie.
That movie fucking sucks.
Oh, what a
terrible
shame.
movie. Yeah.
Why would they do that?
They also squandered Jared Harris.
Oh my God, he is in that.
He's the Zelda Rubinstein.
Right,
is that her name?
right.
He's her analog. Yeah, they just fucking squander fucking Rockwell and Jared Harris in that movie.
They squandered the director. It's the director of I think City of Ember, which is a very creative movie from what I remember.
I didn't see it. That's Bill Murray in it, didn't it?
Yeah, and Toby Jones, and then they directed Monster House, and then and then they were like, do a Poltergeist, and they're like, all right.
Monster House is good.
Yeah. Oh, it's written by Dan Harmon. Well,
right.
Sort of.
They severely rewrote his screenplay, as Dan Harmon will tell you at the drop of a hat.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, Sam Rockwell, he don't need to be no superstar. He's good where he is, I think, as long as he's happy.
Yeah, it's funny that neither of us said Three Billboards.
Oh, yeah. I have to rewatch that. I've only seen it once.
I didn't love it.
I enjoyed it. I have like a weird memory aversion to it that I won't go into, but like, you know, when you eat a food and then you get the flu afterwards and you can't eat that food for a while, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the food.
Yep.
I have something like that. Yeah,
I have that connection to an Unwritten Law album.
Oh, okay.
There is an album by Unwritten Law that I cannot listen to because I got it as I had one of the worst fevers of my entire life.
Right, and then that's all you can think about.
So that's all I can think about when I hear it.
Yeah. But I mean, him plus Martin McDonagh is it's a very smart pairing. He and in this, like when you said Robert Downey Jr., I was like, oh, that could be good. Not as good as Sam Rockwell, because Sam Rockwell has that. He has this combination of a scummy guy that's also kind of sad, and he can do it really well, like Slimeball, but sympathetic.
Sam Rockwell's more. It's interesting to say this because I love him. Rockwell's more hateable than RDJ.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
he fits into this kind of role better than Robert Downey would.
Yeah. Robert Downey he's not slimy enough. That's the whole thing with Iron Man, which is like, you could say is like kind of does a disservice to, you know, when like it boosted people like Elon Musk after that, people trying to see him the same way, which is that Iron Man almost isn't, he's too charismatic at first. like because he's RDJ. So it's like
Yeah.
you start liking him. You start the movie liking him, and it's like
Right, but you can recognize that he kind of sucks.
yeah,
But it's a different dynamic than what you would want for a movie like this.
oh for sure. Yeah.
But
Robert Downey Jr.
like-
He can be a slime ball. I mean, U.S. Marshals, man.
Yep.
Killing it in U.S. Marshals.
Yep. Natural born killers.
Yeah, I do like. This is a weird one. I like his performance.
He's
What's
doing
that?
he's doing his Mel Gibson impression in Natural Born Killers.
I like his performance in Gothica, which isn't a great movie, but it was. I think it was his comeback movie technically.
Yeah, I think it was the first movie he got when he got out of prison. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I tweeted about this. It's interesting. His movie right before Rehab was In Dreams, where he plays like a serial killer who's was in an asylum, and then his comeback was Gothica, which is another horror movie, like In Dreams, where he plays not a serial killer who works at an asylum. So he has like an asylum sandwich.
Right. Like, wasn't the game in Gothica where like you thought he was the bad guy, but he's not?
Which is why I
Yeah.
liked him, is because they make him. They do an interesting thing where they make him helpful enough that any like person who has watched a million of these is like, oh, he did it.
Yeah, he's the fucking bad
Like
guy.
that guy's too helpful.
Yeah.
He did it, and then no, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. He
Yeah.
didn't do it. Spoilers for Gothica.
Yeah, spoilers for Gothica. Halle Berry does in fact kill a man in that, and gets away with it because he is just so bad that everybody's like, it's cool.
It's fine.
It's fine. And like I'm not against that. I agree with the film. She's just like, yeah, Ghost made me kill this guy. And they're like,
Sure.
yeah, well the Ghost was right. Halle
Yeah, fuck
Berry.
that guy. That guy sucked.
Yeah. Oh, Gothica.
Fucking Gothica. Man.
That's a film.
It is
Halle
a
Berry
motion
broke
picture.
her arm
It is a
filming that.
She
Because
did. She
on Robert Downey Jr. did it. to her.
RDJ broke her arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Must have felt bad.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
couldn't live with myself if I broke Halle
Right.
Berry's arm.
Right. Also, all right, Halle Berry was hot shit at the time, right?
Yeah, she just won for Monsters Ball.
Right. And then you got Robert Downey Jr., who really needs this to work out for him.
Right, who's like
coming
he's struggling. No studio will insure him,
Right.
and he breaks fucking Halle Berry's arm.
Oh, God.
My God,
That must have been...
you disaster of a man.
Yeah, that's... oof. Good
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
And then he did Iron Man 2 with Sam Rockwell, who did this movie.
He did. Yes,
Bring
all of
bring
this
it
is
all
accurate.
back. Bring it all back. Yeah, I like this movie. It's definitely not my favorite. I don't come back to it often. It's a movie that I feel like I've seen too much, but it isn't true, which is weird.
I've only seen this twice.
Yeah. I think I did an article on it, or like I included an article, so I know I've watched it like at least like 3 times and scrubbed through it for screen grabs and shit like that.
Yeah,
And it's a good movie. It's not my favorite George Clooney directing movie by far. I think he's better when he does serious stuff.
I don't know.
think
I
he's
don't know
way
what else
better.
to say about this film.
And Rotten Tomatoes would agree with me on this one.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that like the other silly movies is like Leatherheads and Monuments Men, which will have their moments. I think he's. It's weird to say, like sweetness, like sincerity, human kindness, like happiness. He doesn't do nearly as well as like tragedy and seriousness. He nails those, and he makes some really compelling films through that. I think you should watch
Yeah.
Ides of March. I might
probably
watch it.
will.
I might watch
Yeah.
it tonight.
Yeah. Fuck that. It was on Hulu for a long time.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's got Ryan Gosling, and he holds up the magazine, and it's
So
his
that's like
face and
his
George
face.
Clooney's face. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole movie. He holds it up the whole movie. He walks around.
He just walks around with that in front of his face
Yeah.
like a fucking mask.
He bumps into things because he has no depth perception. But
Right,
it's
because
okay.
half of his face is George Clooney on Time magazine.
Yeah,
I mean, what would you do?
exactly. What would
Not
you
that,
do?
please.
Yeah. The whole movie is just about. It's just about people like, yeah, you do have the same shape faced as George Clooney. That's interesting, Ryan Gosling.
Thank you for
and-
pointing that out.
Yeah. Roll credits. Ides of March. Do we have any other thoughts?
No. I have nothing else to say about this movie.
Yeah, I feel like. Oh, I did want to note if you're going to cast a young Sam Rockwell, Michael Cera. Like
apparently
he looks like they look like each other. Like he looks like he could turn into Sam Rockwell at that age. I don't know if this was his first role. Michael Cera trying to get a girl to lick his penis.
No, I think he'd done other stuff before this.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of a child actor. I always forget that about him.
Mm-hmm. I know he was in the Berenstain Bears animated series.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that was before or after this, but...
He also has the thing where he looks younger than he is, so he was probably used a lot to play younger roles like this.
Yeah.
Where you like need a kid to just say something real fucked up, but you don't want to get like a really small kid, because it's like, that's fucked up. Why would you do that?
Yeah. Why on earth? Why would you use your power? Mm-hmm. Your considerable power to do this?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
The hell is your problem?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to Joshua Graves.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good list. Good.
Solid
Congratulations
list.
to us for picking.
Yeah.
The right thing.
We clearly picked the best of the bunch.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, thank us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested, you can check out our Patreon. That's where these podcasts are done through. That's patreon.com/gamefully unemployed.
Do it.
Yeah. We have exclusive podcasts there, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. Also, it's Monday and Tuesday. You know, for the month of June, there'll be maybe some other podcasts happening on Tuesdays. You'll have to find out.
There might be. There could possibly be some vampire adjacent podcasts.
Right. There's no evidence that this is a fact.
No.
No.
I can't confirm or deny that it exists, but
Tom, should we plug our stores? Does it matter?
no.
We never plug our Twitters. Should we plug our Twitters?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just asking these questions.
Yeah. No, it's a responsible thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a store, but fuck it right now.
No. It's all right. It's all right, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay. Mm-hmm. Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Watch Ides of March.
Yeah.
That'll make you feel
Just
better.
settle in with Ides of March.
A feel-good movie.
That fucking film.